Her phone buzzed, and when she read the text, a chill ran down her spine. Did you really think it was over? A year had passed since Zanele escaped from Victor's mansion and his dark secrets. She thought she'd left that nightmare behind, hiding in her old township and trying to rebuild her life. But the memory of that enormous coiled snake in his basement, guarding piles of treasure and power, still haunted her. She thought she was free, but this message shattered that illusion. Heart pounding. She replied, "Who is this?" A new message came in seconds later, a picture of the snake figurine she had once seen on the mysterious altar in Victor's mansion. She had told no one about it, not even Gogo Lindiwe, the old healer who had been guiding her through her healing. Zanele's phone slipped from her hand as fear gripped her. She'd been so careful, leaving no trace of her past with Victor, avoiding his name. But someone had found her, and they wanted her to know that her past wasn't done with her. She called Gogo Lindiwe, and the elder answered almost immediately, as if she'd known this day was coming. "I feared this," Gogo Lindiwe said, her voice calm but serious. Victor's dark power wasn't his alone. He was part of something larger, something dangerous. They're coming for you because they don't leave loose ends. "What do I do, Gogo?" Zanele asked, barely able to breathe. "I don't want to go back to that life." "You may not have a choice," Gogo replied, "but you can prepare. Come to me tonight. There's much you need to learn." That night, Zanele sat in Gogo Lindiwe's small, smoky room, surrounded by protective charms. Gogo placed a carved pendant around Zanele's neck, an amulet to connect her with her ancestors and their strength. "You are not alone, Zanele," Gogo Lindiwe said. "Your ancestors stand behind you and their power flows through you. But those who are coming, they don't give up. They've tasted Victor's power and now they want you, but you must resist." Over the next hours, Gogo taught Zanele spells for protection and ways to call on her ancestors' strength. Zanele listened closely, her fear slowly turning into determination. She wasn't just defending herself, she was preparing to stand up to an ancient dark force that preyed on people like her. The next few weeks were tense. Zanele wore the amulet everywhere, its warmth reminding her of her ancestors' power. Shadows seemed to move around her, but she held on to her training, refusing to let fear win. One evening as she walked home, a sleek black car was parked on her street. She didn't recognize it, and the windows were tinted so dark she couldn't see inside. As she got closer, the window rolled down, and a man's low, calm voice called out, "Zanele, we need to talk." She froze. Inside the car was a man she didn't know. He looked older, with sharp features and an intimidating presence. "Who are you?" she asked, clutching her amulet tightly. The man smiled, but his eyes were cold. "You know who I am, or at least you know what I represent. Victor and I had a profitable arrangement, and you interrupted it. Now we'd like to offer you the same opportunity." "I don't want anything to do with you," Zanele replied, her voice steady despite her fear. The man's smile disappeared, his face hardening. "You misunderstand, Zanele. This isn't a choice. You know things you shouldn't. We don't just leave loose ends." He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a dark whisper. "Think about it. Wealth, power. Isn't that what you wanted with Victor? It can all be yours. If you join us." Zanele held her ground, looking him in the eye. "I know the price of your power, and I don't want it." His eyes turned cold. "Very well, but know this. You can't run forever. We'll find you." The car drove off, leaving Zanele alone in the dark street, heart racing but feeling more resolved than ever. She wasn't the same person she was when she first met Victor. Now she had the strength of her ancestors behind her. That night, she returned to Gogo Lindaway and told her everything. The elder listened, her face serious. "Then it's time," Gogo said, handing Zanele a bundle of herbs and charms. "You can't hide, but you can fight. They may be relentless, but so are we." Together they prepared for what was coming, calling upon the spirits of Zanel's ancestors and weaving powerful protections. As the night wore on, Zanel felt her fear melt away, replaced by unbreakable determination. If Victor's allies wanted her, they'd find a warrior waiting for them, ready to protect herself and those she loved. From that day forward, Zanele lived with a sharpened awareness, each quiet moment laced with the tension of waiting. She had won the battle, but she knew this was only the beginning. The darkness she defied was vast, powerful, and relentless. Those forces wouldn't just vanish. Her victory had only put her in their sights. Some nights, as she lay in bed, she felt a strange heaviness in the air, as though unseen eyes were watching her from the shadows. She clutched her amulet, closed her eyes, and whispered to her ancestors, feeling their strength wrap around her like armor. One night, a chilling whisper filled her room, low and mocking. "Did you think a trinket would save you?" The voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. Zanele sat bolt upright, fear sparking through her, but her defiance flared just as quickly. "You don't scare me anymore," she said, her voice steady, though her heart raced. The room grew colder and the air thickened as the whisper grew louder, shifting into a dark, echoing laugh. "We will come, Zanele. We'll come for you in ways you'll never see." But she held her ground, her fists clenched around the amulet until the cold faded and silence returned. Still, sleep evaded her that night. The shadows outside her window seemed darker, and the silence heavier. Days later, she found an old, tattered letter left on her doorstep. It was unsigned, its words written in a language she didn't fully understand, but she felt its intent like a shiver through her bones. They were taunting her, letting her know they were close, that they could reach her whenever they wanted. Zanele took the letter to Gogo Lindiwe, who looked it over. "They're testing your defenses," Gogo said, her voice grave. "They want to see if they can break you before they strike." "So what do I do?" Zanele asked, her voice edged with fear. "Stay strong, my child," Gogo replied. "They will try to get inside your mind, to make you doubt, to weaken your spirit. But remember, you are protected. They may try to unravel you, but they cannot break you unless you let them." That night, as Zanele returned home, she felt the weight of every shadow that clung to the streets. But she took each step with purpose, her resolve growing with every whispered threat, every sinister chill that brushed her skin. In the quiet of her room, she sat cross-legged, gripping her amulet as she called to her ancestors, feeling too far gone and hopeless, an outcome Gogo Lindiwe wouldn't like. "I am ready," she whispered to the dark. Thank you for listening. Please look out for the next video, and if you enjoyed the story, please leave a like or a comment.